You have any questions, Linda, or any topics you want me to cover?
Um, so I think it's follow-up calls and and how do I say more about that? So I had several people attend a seminar last month, a small seminar, and I've made follow-up calls to each of them, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to connect with them and keep track of who I'm contacting as well, in order to contact folks for that seminar. It was on estate planning. I called it paperwork and packing tape, and I teamed up with an estate planner. And I sent emails to selected people out of my database, actually a good number where I actually did a personal email. Like there was a chunk of it that was the standard part of here's what's coming up, but I addressed it to them personally, like where did we last meet? How did I meet them? What questions did they have from the downsize seminar that they took? And those kind of things. So, making phone calls is a difficult task for me. So, I'm so reluctant to make the phone call. So, I decided to do emails on that one and make them personal. So,
Copy. Well, that is going to be our training at 8 o'clock. We are definitely going to go over that. But and it's the way my whole business is built. I think a lot of times people have a reluctant to call because they're value deficient or because they don't want to come off salesy. And, I always say it, and pardon my French, I always say, well, if you don't want to come off salesy, then F and don't come off salesy. Um, but I think it's more of that when we call, we think that when we call, we have an intention of getting what we want. We're calling because we want to get them moving forward. We're calling because we want to, we want to see if they're going to be ready to sell versus just coming from curiosity and asking questions. How did you feel? Like for our open houses, I'll give a perfect example. For our open houses, when we give follow-ups, when they sign in, there's literally a thing at the bottom says we promise no spam or weird phone calls. So when we call, we just say, hey, I wanted to thank you so much for coming to our open house. We really appreciate it. We know there's a bunch of houses on the market. Really appreciate it. May I ask, what was it about our house that was you brought curiosity to come see it? So now they're going to tell us a little bit about like I saw it on this, or I saw your signs, or I saw, and we already know because that's one of the questions we ask is how'd they hear about the open house, but we didn't really ask them what about the house made them come and see it. Then the next thing we go is there anything that our sellers can do to improve the way it shows? So we're making them almost like feel like, oh, they're an expert, or this guy wants my advice or my opinion. And people love giving their opinions and their advice. So they will start telling us about, oh, well, I think they should do this, or no, it showed really well, but or they might just go into and start saying, I didn't like this, this, and this about the house. So they're now telling me what they didn't like about the house. Then I followed up with, is there anything that you think I could do to improve my marketing for the home? I can't really control the location. I can't control how the house, is built or what, if it has 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, but I can definitely control how I market the home. Is there anything I can do to improve my marketing? Generally we hear, oh my gosh, no, we've never seen anyone market a home like this. You're so much different. Or sometimes people go, oh, well, we would have liked this, or you should do this, or you should try this. Then I'll go and ask them, who, and now this is a conversion question. Who do you have that's selling you off-market properties? Give them something very specific because everyone's sending them properties, but who's sending them off-market properties? Again, I want to come up with something different. Then we can start it. It opens up a conversation about that. Then the last thing I ask them, no matter how the conversation goes, I said, would it offend you if I called to invite you to an upcoming lunch and learn? would it offend you if I called to invite you about an upcoming neighborhood event? We're gonna have a neighborhood garage sale, and I wanted to see if it would offend you if I invited you to that garage sale. Now, if anyone says yes, it would offend you to get invited to an event or a garage sale. Guess what? They're not your people. But then don't even put them in your CRM. Just they're not a lot of my CRM. If they say it wouldn't offend them, then they're going to go into my CRM and I'm going to now have permission to follow up with them about inviting them to events and inviting them to, uh, you know, um, lunch and learns and things like that. So I think that it's the same thing. Like when you have a lunch and learn, following up is more about being curious. Hey, I want to thank you so much for coming to our lunch and learn. May I ask, what was your biggest aha moment? What was the biggest thing you've learned? Or did you get any value out of it? Curious, what was it that, about the topic or about the luncheon that even made you curious enough to come into the lunch and learn? Because I know you guys are, your time is valuable. There's so many different things out there. A lot of people are afraid of um, timeshare, salespeople coming through and being sold on something. I want to make sure you didn't feel like you're being sold to or obligated or pressured to do anything, right? Um, so that is another thing. And then, hey, is there anything that we can do to improve on our lunch and learn, on the information we gave? And I always make a joke, like I can't change me being bald, but other than me having no hair, is there something I could have done to improve the topic or improve the way I delivered the information? And then, hey, is there anything that you needed follow-up questions on? Or what questions do you have for me based on the information that you heard that day? Is there a topic that you would love to know more information about? And the last thing I would ask them is, would it offend you if I just followed up with you? Or would it offend you if I set up a free consultation with the estate planning just to kind of go over some specifics for you? So that would be kind of how I would handle following up there. Um, I mean, might be a little, I don't know about vulgar is the right thing, but I always kind of reference it to back when we were young and we were, you know, dating, you'd go on a first date. Well, at a first date, you wouldn't be, "Oh, well, you wanna sleep with me? You wanna go home with me?" Like, you generally, people don't start off the conversation or in the middle of the first date, go there, even though that might be their ultimate goal, because it'll come off like, "Whoa, this guy, this is way too much." But if you're interested in the person, you're gonna ask lots of questions. You're gonna listen to them. And the second date, you're gonna reiterate what you talked about and why, you felt like the second date was appropriate. It's kind of the same thing in building relationships with our clients. If we're just nonstop looking at the transaction, one, we've missed the statistics and the probability of really building a true business because in this real estate industry, if we look at it as transactional sales and we just want the transaction from our client, we're looking at one transaction every 7 to 10 years. And after they hit a certain age, it's actually 20 to 30 years. So if that's the only reason we have to build a relationship with them, it's going to be a very short-lived cycle of a client. Versus if we look at it that we want their referrals, we want their introductions, they know 5 to 7 people a year. So when I have conversations with people, if I was going to invite them to an event, more of what it would sound like to me is I'm having an event about estate planning and the importance of it. And I'll give the kind of the value proposition of it. And then I'll say, who do you know that you think could benefit from this lunch and learn? I'm not making it about them. I'm making it about who do they know. If I have a listing and I want to be like, hey, I have this new listing coming up, blah, blah, blah. Who do you know that you think that could be a good fit for this home or that's looking for a home like this? Now, if they are, they're going to say, well, actually, I would be totally interested in coming to that lunch and learn, or that house would be for me. I'm actually looking for a home. So that, like, I don't have to worry about not asking the specific question for them because if I ask it, who do they know? If it does fit them, they will say, well, me, Corey, I'm interested. Um, So does that help or any follow up with that?
Yeah, I like that idea of it's the relationship and being curious, getting to know them, and recognizing that they have the connections also. They know other people.
100%. Mark Benson says, I'm not sure if this is for you, but how open-minded would you be? It sounds like both me and Mark read the How to Say It. That's what it's called, right? Yeah, that's what it's called. How to Say It.
Exactly what to say by Phil
Exactly
M.
what to
Jones.
say. That's what it is. I was thinking of how to say it to seniors, but no, exactly what to say. For realtors, you guys should get the book. I'm trying to see if I have it, but oh, I do have it. Hold on one second. It's like it's one of my books that exactly what to say by Phil Jones. The magic words. Now there's one specifically for realtors, but definitely, I mean that's kind of like what one of my things I was going. The number one thing we got to do is constantly perfect our performance, and our performance really is scripting and role playing. If we're not role playing every single day, we will not be a top producer. First thing I did when I got back in the industry is I studied top producers, single agent top producers. Who's doing more than 26 deals a year and is in the top 10% of the country? What are they doing? Every single top producer in, said when I interviewed them or in their little things of, how they got successful, every single one of them said they role played. And generally, most of them said, I'd come in the morning, I'd have a role playing partner, and we'd role play for 15 to 20 minutes before I jump on that phone and start pounding the dialing for dollars. We need to role play. This is a great book of like, he has a bunch of leading questions and kind of objection handling, but it's how to rephrase our questions. Like, you know, what questions do you have for me? It's so much different than, so do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Almost makes it sound like they're stupid, like you didn't understand what I said. But saying, well, what questions do you have for me? That almost sounds like they're supposed to have a question for me, and they're stupid if they don't have a question for me. So I found that whenever I'm talking out, I try to say, oh, so what questions do you guys have for me? Or what questions do does that spark? And it starts another conversation. Um,
Well,
I
they're
have one.
also
Oh, go
they're
ahead, go ahead,
also
Mark.
they're also open-ended questions instead of closed-ended questions. So they don't get a yes or a no answer immediately. And so oftentimes when we ask closed-ended questions, is do you have any questions for me? No. Versus what questions do you have for me leaves a spectrum of possibility. Well, I don't have any, or I have one.
Right. Yeah, no, it's truly sad. And I mean, again, I'm going to go back to open houses because that's the best. That's the best place where I think we have opportunities to come. Like that's a true lead that comes in, and every opportunity could be a close or a new relationship. And that's how I look at everything. It's all relationships, building relationships, making partnerships. But the first thing I come in as they're coming in is I always ask them, where are you guys coming from? Sometimes I get, oh, we just got back from church, or little Billy had baseball practice, or we're on our way out to breakfast, or whatever it is. Some people say, oh, we're just coming from, the next door over, or we're coming from Pasadena. We're coming, like it's so open-ended that some people go, oh, is that what you meant? Sure, that's what I meant, and then I might ask, hey, where do you live? But I won't say, do you live around here? Are you coming from Simi? Yes, no. No, like, no. Um, how did you hear about my open house? That's another great one because one, I want to see which marketing of mine works. I put 100 open house signs out there. I want to make sure that at least 33% of people are coming into the home either recognize my signs or came in from my signs. So that's a great question. Would
One
it
of the one
offend
of the
you?
ones he,
Go ahead.
one of the things that he also suggests is how far did you travel today to come here?
How
So
far did you
that
travel?
helps you
Yeah.
clarify. Did they come from right around the corner? Did they see it online and they drove a half an hour to get here?
Yeah, that's a great one. And a follow-up is, oh, I'm curious, what sparked your curiosity to making it that far or coming to this open house or choosing this one to come to? Oh, we're just looking at 10 other homes. It's just one of many. Or no, we really like this about the home. So kind of they're kind of putting in there. Would it offend you if I told you why the seller is selling? This right there makes it very personal. I have to get them personalized because if they're coming in just looking at a product, they're not going to feel personalized about it. But if they understand the psychology or the emotions of why the seller's selling, well, they've been here, they raised their kids here for so long. Now the kids have moved to Idaho. They really want to be around their grandkids. They're reluctant to let the house go, but because they liked their neighbors. They liked having barbecues outside with all their neighbors. Um, so that is um, one of the like the other things that we'll ask. Well, and we'll also tell them, this is a 4 bedroom, 2 bathroom. Well, they read that coming in. What didn't they read? They didn't read that there's a great Thai food down the street. They didn't read about all the parks right down the street. They didn't read about, the family being raised in that house. They didn't read about, there's little things. Oh, my seller really liked the fact that when their kids were growing up, they had this living room that they could watch TV in, and the kids could be over there playing Wii Nintendo or whatever it may be. So those are the different things that really came um, to mind. And then I let them kind of walk through the house, and then we'll ask some other open-ended questions. I always point them to the tacos and slushies because I want them to stay there. If they refuse tacos and slushies, then usually they're really not interested or they don't want to feel obligated to talk to me. Um, and then I always end off with, how does this house compare to other ones we've seen on the other ones you've seen on the market? What'd you think about this house? Yeah, it was good. Oh, did you like the house? No, not really. Like, but if you say, how does this house compare to other ones you've seen on the market? You might hear, well, actually, this is the first home we've seen. This is the first home you've seen? What did we do to earn the first house that you've seen? Or are you just starting to think? Does that mean that you guys are just starting your process? I mean, you've been looking online and it's the first one you came to. It starts a whole conversation. Or what they'll do is they'll start telling you what they loved about the house and what they hated about the house. Oh, so that's pretty important to you. You really needed that fifth bedroom. If did you see, and that's why I always do like a market analysis of what's on the market or what just went pending. Did you get a chance to see the one that was right up on there on Stoneman? It was a 5 bedroom, had a beautiful view, no pool. Did you get to see that one? And I'll pick one house that's already pending because my goal is that hopefully they didn't see it. Oh, you see, that happens. Like, who do you have using as your realtor to find you properties? And sometimes they'll say they're using an out of area agent. Like, I find it so interesting that people with their biggest asset and something so important as keeping your pulse on the beat and houses moving, the great ones are still moving pretty quickly, about knowing what's coming on the market before it comes on the market. May I ask? And then I'll go into, who's showing you off market properties. So that's what I would really go into is when we look at it as we want to build relationships and make partnerships. And I mean, I do a whole training on it of and my whole business is really no matter if I meet them at an expo, I meet them at an open house, I meet them at a lunch and learn, or in my CRM, I met them walking down the street. As soon as you get into my CRM, I am trying to build a relationship up with you. And I will tell you, if I try to build a relationship with someone and they're rude, they're mean, they're flaky, guess what? I ain't trying to build a relationship with them. They can stay in my CRM. Now, if they're a complete a-hole, I might have them in CRM and say, do not answer this phone call. Don't do business with this person. I do have a couple people in that category. Um, but for the most part, I'm trying to build a relationship up with them because I need to get them to, yes, know, like, and trust you. That's number one thing. But people can know, like, and trust you, but if they don't remember what you do and they don't believe that that they're confident in your competence, they ain't gonna introduce you to anybody. So And I can't wait for them to use me because that might be 7 to 10 years away, or it might be 10 to 20 years away, depending on how old they are. So I have to make them feel confident, and I have to bring value to that relationship. Just like if I was dating a girl, like my wife, when I met her, we started dating. There was no way that I was going to, get to the end goal of, marrying her or being with her long term. I was just going for the transaction. I just went, if I didn't bring value and show that I had some bigger value than where I was at that day and time, there's no way we would have kept dating. So same with our relationship with our potential clients. And I look at it's like our core 100, our core 200, our core 300. What's so crucial about them is I have to make them feel so confident in my confidence and my competence and my way to bring value and my way to educate and what I specialize in, that when they do hear of someone, they're like, I'm going to introduce you. I just had a phone call yesterday. It was a guy I met on the golf course 2 years ago. And I stay in the flow with him. I invite him to events. He invite me to events. I sponsor his events. Because he does some golf charity tournaments, and he like bounces around from one job to another job to another job. Like he just can't, get his thing. Um, and I bring him value. I put him part of my monthly value calls. Well, he just called and said, "Hey, Corey, I'm calling about two things. The first thing is my wife's mom, she just passed away back on Mother's Day. Three kids, or there's three kids. Two want to sell it. One wants to keep it. A dispute is happening. And I remember I keep seeing your Facebook stuff, and it sounds like you're the specialty. You're the guy that this is what you specialize in. So I want to introduce you to them, hopefully to keep the family together. And then I don't know if they're going to sell or not, but I think this would be a great opportunity that if they do, they'll use it." And I said, honestly, it's not about that at this point in time. I want to keep the family together. And then if we can keep the family together, then and they want to sell, then we'll work on it to it. And if the one son wants to buy the house, we'll just let him buy it, and we'll do it in a fair, strategic way where it'll benefit all parties involved. Um, so that's where I really think that we just got to do is just when you're following up, don't look at it as like, how do I convert them? More of look at it, how can I build a relationship with them? How can I come from value? How can I come from education? And again, I know we all want transactions. I mean, it's the number one thing that we need to be successful. We need closed transactions, or we're not going to be in this business for the most part, unless we're just doing it for fun or a side gig. But for the most part, we need closed transactions. The way to get closed transactions is consistent lead flow, which means we have to consistently prospect. But who do we prospect? I personally, I hate rejection. Like I will avoid rejection like the black plague. I won't go up to someone and ask them a question if I think there is a more than a 10% of a chance of getting a no. I'm not asking the question. I'll be honest to God, I'm not. But I want to build a relationship with them because I'm trying to look who's going to be my core 100, now 300, who's going to be in my core that are going to be my advocates, are going to be my cheerleaders, and are going to introduce me to people that are looking to buy, sell, invest, build, protect, and transfer, eliminate capital gain taxes, and help with seniors and families in their moments of transitions. That's who I'm looking for. So I don't, if they just bought a home, great. I'm so excited for them. I want to really get involved and really bring value to that person. There's a friend of mine, we golfed. We actually used to work together. He ended up buying with his cousin who just got their license. I called because I saw the Facebook. Oh my God, I'm so excited for you. It's like, Corey, dude, I'm so sorry I didn't use you. I told you I was going to, but I had to give the opportunity to my cousin. I said, dude, don't worry. Like, I'm not worried about that at all. Um, and we talked about it. And I said, okay, so in that inspection, did you see X, Y, and Z? I sent him a little $500 Home Depot card saying, hey, when we talked about the home inspection, you said this, and this was done. Here's $500 just to help you. Now he called me back saying, hey, Corey, you didn't have to do this. My own cousin didn't give me anything. I said, honestly, it's all good. I know that you needed it. And it's there for you. Please know that in the first year, if you find different things wrong, call her because there are ways that maybe the seller is still liable for it. There are things that the home warranty company will cover. There are things that the home insurance company won't cover. So don't call them because give a red flag if you call them on those things. Educated him. Well, guess what? The next person because when he had a housewarming party, he invited me, and he literally said, "Hey, I didn't use Corey, but I promise you that if I had another chance, I would. He did X, Y, and Z for me. He's helped me deal with this issue." And I got 2 referrals from him. Because when people buy a house, other people that are in his circle that are looking to buy or sell are talking to him about it. Hey, what'd you do? Who'd you use? What was your rate? What was your experience? Like, so that's who we want. So I really do believe that's what we gotta focus on. Uh, and I always do the power of 100. If you have 100 people that are you stay in the flow with, you bring them value, you are educating them, and you train them how to introduce you to people, they will introduce you to at least one person every 5 years. You'll do 20 to 30 transactions. You'll be in the top 10% in America. And most of us will have a really good quality of life because of it. But like when I call my people, they're great conversations. I mean, I always go, it's like, I don't call it prospecting, I call it ego boosting. When I call my sphere, they are literally telling me how great I am. They're telling me how much they learned from me. They're telling me how much that I'm kicking booty. Like it's all great things versus the guy, next to me who's dialing for dollars, trying to call FISBOs and expireds and Zillow leads. He's nonstop getting filled with rejection. He comes in all spruced up. By the end of the day, the guy looks like he went to war. And I'm like, dude, like, are you okay? He's like, I don't know if I can take one more rejection. This one client, I've been working with them for 6 months. They said they're gonna use me. They just told me they went to an open house and used somebody else. I'm like, oh yeah, dude, I couldn't, I couldn't do that. Like that's just not me. I mean, and I tried, but we all feel like we need consistent leads, and we do. And he's like, but where am I going to get leads? I don't have a good sphere. I don't, but we do. We just don't look at it that we're looking at but none of my friends own a home. Great. None of your friends have any parents, grandparents that own homes or buy homes. You don't think that like I know I've gotten referrals from grandkids for their grandma's house. Actually, I'm selling one in Mexico, of all places, right now, where the grandson was my taco guy that comes in, does tacos for my open houses. He referred me to his grandma, who's selling her house in Mexico, and she's going to buy a house over here. Easy referral, get 35% over there, and a $600 sale here. Like all from just bringing value, and I didn't care that he was my taco guy. Like, that part doesn't matter. Your gardener, your landscaper, your pool guy, those are all people that know people. So I am going to, unless someone has another question real quick, I'm going to jump off just because I got to get ready for the training about prospecting and following up, and we'll kind of build on this and go from there.
Thank you, Cory.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Glad to make it, Mark. Glad to hear that business as well. And we will see you guys at 8 o'clock and go from there.